Welcome to another Codezing.org Python programming lecture. We're doing another level 1 project. This one is called Area, Perimeter, and Diagonal of a Rectangle. Super fun. Codezing.org /area_rectangle if you want to find the code and get a working example. Let's head over there. If you go to Codezing.org, this is level 1. Scroll down, we're getting through these. Rectangle, and what's it going to do? It is going to calculate the area, perimeter, and diagonal of a rectangle. And you can see the formulas are in here if you were wondering the math behind it. So let's enter the length, which is the L here. Let's say that's 10 units, and the width 5 units, and we'll calculate. And we see that the area is 50, perimeter is 30, and the diagonal is 11.1803. Alright, it's cool. So assuming you can kind of use this to check your homework if you're on to this level of mathematics. But it's also a really good introduction into math in Python and how you code mathematical functions. So let's check out the code. If you scroll to the bottom, click on the button. Here's the whole code for you. Copy, head over to Spider, paste that in. If you don't have Python or Spider, not sure how you made it this far in the program, but head back to the website, follow the links and the instructional videos to show you how to get it installed. It's free and open source, easy to do. Let's take a look at this code. So first, we are going to need some extra functions that aren't naturally in Python, and we're going to do that by saying import math. So import math brings a whole nother library of Python code into your program that doesn't load by default. So I always give the example of like apps on your phone. If you add an app to your phone, you get all the functionality of the app just by downloading it to your phone. You can play games or text message or social media or whatever you're doing. And the same thing in Python. If you put import and the library is called math, all lowercase, you will get a lot of math functions that aren't naturally there. And we're going to use that for down here, square root. So adding, multiplying, dividing are all just naturally in Python, but square root is not, and so we're pulling that from the math library. These two are user inputs, which we've seen on a lot of the other, well, really every other one. If you want to interact with the user, you got to get input from them. So we're doing that again. Input the length and width, and since we're doing math, we got to turn that into an integer. Which otherwise it would come through as a string, as text, and when Python tries to do math on text, it's not gonna work well. So we're converting those to integers, and then we are doing the calculation down here. So first we're going to calculate area, and area is going to be equal to the length times the width, and so length times width, and then we are encasing that in a round function. So this is just rounding it off, and it's rounding it to 4 decimal places. That was probably just to make it a little bit prettier when it prints out. Otherwise, it might get a little long in the decimals, depending on the numbers. That's area. Perimeter, same thing. We're rounding. And what are we rounding? We're rounding the length times 2 plus the width times 2. So that makes sense. That's the perimeter. Length times 2 plus width times 2. And we're enclosing these, the width times 2 and the length times 2 in parentheses, just as a normal math way of dividing the order of operations. So it's doing the length times 2 first, and the width times 2 first, and then adding the result of that together. That's straightforward. Sorry, little brain hiccup there. And we're rounding that to 4 decimal places as well. So this is the mathematical function, and then the comma is just part of this round function, telling round how many decimal places we want. Diagonal is equal to round again, and the formula for that is the width squared. So 2 asterisks like that is an exponent. So 1 asterisk is multiply 2 asterisks is exponent. So width to the power of 2 squared plus length squared, and then we're adding all of that together. So width squared plus length squared, and then we are square rooting that. So that's the diagonal length is the square root of the width squared plus the length squared. And we're doing that to 4 decimal places. So there's tons of other math functions obviously in Python. I mean every math function, depending on what library you import. So if you're trying to do math in Python, trying to simplify a calculation or something, you can always do that. You just need to look online, read, watch tutorials, and try to figure out exactly, or leave a comment if you're looking for a specific function. I can guide you to where that can be found. The bottom section is just printing that back out to the console like we've done in every other project. So you're giving the feedback to the user. You're getting the feedback from the user on the input, or getting the the user's input at the top, and then you're giving them the feedback at the end. You're printing out this text, area is, and then the variable area. Perimeter is, and the variable perimeter, and the same thing for diagonal. So let's give it a run. What do we got? Length 5, width 10, and we are getting area is 50, perimeter is 30, and diagonal is 11.1803. Feel free to check that on your calculator if you want. But, let's see, what else can we do here? Let's say you don't want as many decimals. You just want 1 decimal place. You can change the level of rounding. And we can see that here, 5, 10. You can see now it rounded it to the just the tenths place because we put 1. You obviously can get rid of the rounding if you don't want it to round at all. You want the exact answer. It doesn't have to be rounded. But let's see what happens when we do that. 10, 5. And you can see it goes on for ways. It looks a little funny. That's why I did the round, but you certainly don't have to round. It just prints out a little cleaner with the round in there. So I think that's it for this one. Feel free to play around with it. Maybe you can write a function that calculates something else that you've been working on in math class. If you've been getting worksheets that have you doing the same calculation over and over, maybe it's easier to program it up. Then you don't have to fiddle with your calculator as much. But have fun with it. Like I said, leave any comments to the video below, or feel free to email me, info@codezing.org. I'm happy to help, and hope you have fun with this one.